How are they related to each other? Just by looking at them. Can you see any similarities? Muntjac, nuclear, metaphase, chromosomes, 12 chromosomes.
They all meet at a point.
Okay,
Centromere.
so they all have a centromere. I'll draw the centromeres, or point to the centromeres with red, where the two chromosomes that are together, the sister chromatids, contact each other. Which pairs of chromosomes are most closely related? Visually. You look at them, 6 chromosomes. Do any 2 look alike? Do any 4 look alike, I should say? Which numbers? Pardon?
1 through 4.
So 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all pretty large. Of those 4, of chromosome pairs, 1, 2, 3, and 4, which ones have centromeres in the same spot? 1 and 2. So 1 and 2 are the same size and the same shape. Okay. 4 left. How do we pair the rest of them up like that? 5 and 6, 3 and 4. So they have the same, the chromosomes, all 4 of them are the same length, same shape, have the centromeres in roughly the same positions. This is way harder to do if you do something like a human chromosome spread where there are 46 chromosomes and you're trying to pair them up by shape and size. In a muntjac with only 6 pairs, it's pretty straightforward. That's why I started with this species. So what do we call the things that are circled in red up here? It's vocabulary time. What term do we use for chromosomes that are identical in size and shape? And it turns out, also the same DNA sequence, these are homologous chromosomes, or homologs. Now, so that's homologs, chromosomes that have the same or almost the same DNA sequence. So how many, let's talk about the biggest pair. The 2 that are chromosome 1 up there and the 2 that are chromosome 2. Those 4 molecules. Oh crap, I just gave it away. How many molecules of DNA represent that homolog? Sorry. I'm bad at jokes and punchlines. So there are 4 copies of that chromosome in this nucleus right now. What's the ploidy? Ploidy defines the number of copies of a chromosome. So what's the term we would use for the ploidy of this nucleus? It's got 4 of every chromosome. So it's going to be tetra, meaning 4, right? The prefix for 4, tetraploid. Don't say quadruploid, although I would understand what you meant if you said quadruploid. But the genetic term is tetraploid. What else have I not told you? So if you were feeling really argumentative, which I hope you are, what would you tell me the human telomere sequence might instead be called? What am I not showing? How many strands does a chromosome have? This is not a trick question. How many strands does a chromosome have? 2. How many strands of DNA sequence have I written? Just 1. TTAG3. So if you're feeling argumentative, what else would you tell me that the human telomere DNA sequence is? That's 1 strand going from 5' to 3'. What's the sequence of the opposite strand of the telomere from 5' to 3'? CCCTAA, right? Reading from 5' to 3' like we always do. So you can either say that the sequence is TTAG3 or C3TA2. So what happens if you use the complementary fish probe sequence? Right, we decided that in red here, AATCCC was the fish probe that we used. So think about that for next class. What's going to happen to the other strand of the probe? Remember, the probes always start as double-stranded DNA as well. So I'm showing you in red here, one of these strands of the fish probe. What happens to the other strand? Tell me that for next time. The other thing I'd like you to do, so we're going to have a quick Socratic exit activity in just a second. I need to launch it first. Before that, though, next class we've got one section of one chapter to read. Hopefully this is extremely interesting to you. Chromosomal basis of inherited disorders. One of the things I'd love you to think about while you're reading this is to try to answer this specific question. There's a lot of information in this section. Despite being one section, it's a pretty big section. So imagine you're a medical doctor. I know not all of you are interested in the med school route, but since this is a medical topic, someone comes to you with an inherited disorder that you know is caused by aneuploidy. That is, somebody that has the wrong number of chromosomes gets this disease. So what would you do, what type of an experiment would you do as a physician or somebody who works in a medical testing lab to try to detect whether or not somebody has the correct number of a specific chromosome? So think about that as well while you read the assignment and come to class next time. Be prepared to talk about that. Do we have any questions at all at this point? Any topics? Any issues, concerns, feedback? Yeah, well, we're about to get into the technical issues. Okay, so I just started this Socratic exit quiz, so please go to that same room number 240820.